Okay, come on. Don't block gold. Don't block gold. Don't block gold.
And gold.
Oh, come on. All right. All right, can still salvage this. Can still salvage this. Uh, right there. Set them up. You want the wheat, not the tool. You want the wheat, not the tool. You need the wheat. You need the food. You need the wheat.
Hmm. I do need wheat. That tool's been sitting there a long time. It's probably not coming back on the rotation. I think I should take the tool.
Seriously, what the hell? It's like I've played this guy 50 times before. The hell is he reading me this good?
I think I'm gonna take that card.
I'm gonna put my last guy on food because it makes no sense whatsoever.
What the? Dude, you've got like 15 food. What the hell are you doing?
It's called a trap.
What do you mean?
Caveman rap! Hi. Hi everyone, I'm your corrupt overlord, Shane Dayton, just off a recent Caveman Rage.
Ow.
Look, you mess with my competitive ranking on Stone Age on Board Game Arena, and this is what happens.
How was I supposed to know you were smurfing with an alt account?
Capital Cover.
That spells cover, you Nimrod.
The O was capitalized.
Your point being?
Anyway, welcome to our next episode of Unqualified Experts. I'm your corrupt overlord, Shane.
And I'm your very sore but victorious Stone Age winner, Braden Gardner.
So angry right now. And anyway, all jokes and sketches and beatings off camera aside, as justified as they are, we want to talk about a topic that we're actually really big on. And that is one of our favorite sites to jump on online, which is Board Game Arena. Let's be honest. We started this gaming group a few months before the whole world was going to catch on fire and burn thanks to COVID, but we had no way of knowing that. So, having a place where we could play with patrons online, where we could play with each other online, it was kind of the top priority. And luckily, I don't even remember how, this was a place I had discovered and started playing a little bit ahead of time. But to get you the whole story of that tumultuously, horribly mystical dumpster fire known as early 2020, we're going to set the stage for our storyteller Braid.
So imagine everything's, well, as hunky-dory in the US as you got in early 2020. And then we start hearing talks of a super contagious virus. And then we go from talks to everything's locked down and closed. We can't meet in person anymore because various members of our group are immunocompromised. So we had to scramble from meeting in person every Thursday night on our streams to finding a way to still deliver awesome content to our patrons and followers digitally without meeting in person anymore. Not an easy feat, to say the least, particularly as we had been gearing up to have more guests on in person, and we had a few other projects in the works that got delayed or scrapped as a result of this transition.
And let's face it, a lot of us are not built for long-term quarantine. Not mentally, not socially. A lot of you can relate to that, I'm sure.
it was a drastic and difficult adjustment, but Shane came to me with an idea of continuing to play board games on Board Game Arena, and I played around with it a little bit. Like, it was something I'd heard of. I had an account somewhere, but I hadn't really messed around with it all that much. And then I started kind of taking a look at it to see if it would be something we could viably stream because there are a lot of free board games on there, and honestly, an economical way to get access to a board game library that didn't involve us meeting in person or shelling out a ton of money was something that really we needed to survive
Yeah.
moving forward during the pandemic.
And actually, now I remember how I found it. Stone Age is one of my favorite games. Obviously, if you played it, you need 3 or 4 players, and, well, in the middle of no one can leave the house, that just wasn't viable. So I typed in Stone Age Online, found there's this great place called Board Game Arena where I didn't even need a premium account. I could play it for free. And I played a lot of games of Stone Age, and it turned out to be a very, very good thing for us. And so we want to kind of talk about Board Game Arena, the pros, the cons. At this point, we have a lot of experience with the site. And we do want to talk about the various, whether it's the right setup for you, what you can expect out of it, whether it's something you might be interested or not. And do you want to give the caveat about Asmodee at this point? Because that is relevant.
Oh, yes. So, for those who aren't familiar, Asmodee is a fairly prominent board game publisher, and they actually purchased Board Game Arena not terribly long ago. If you've played games like Splendor or Ticket to Ride on Steam, those are Asmodee creations. And if you remember from our last episode, things like the matchmaking and some of their servers just aren't good, for lack of a better way to put it.
Yeah, for those Steam games, the games are exceptional. Their servers for multiplayer are the complete opposite. So there has been a little bit of concern of what was going to happen once they took over, because Board Game Arena did such a good job of going from being overwhelmed to scaling the servers in a really impressive way to help all the new players. So far, I haven't seen a lot of bad signs. Asmodee seems very smart on running it the right way and not messing with the things that work. But it is something that you will want to keep an eye on over the next few months, because that could change how we do view the site. But with that what's being said, I'll jump into the general overview. Board Game Arena, the first thing that'll blow you away is the selection. There are dozens and dozens of games. There might even be a couple hundred at this point. And there are the simple ones that you can imagine, like, there's Yahtzee, there's various card games, there's chess, but there are a lot of really, really other good games on there too. You can choose whether you want to be competitive or just play casually with friends. You can do real-time games or turn-based games for those of us who can only come back to the computer every so often. And perhaps the part I like the most, you can play with strangers around the world, you can play with friends, you can set up so only friends can play with you, you can set it up to invite people in. So there are a lot of really, really good options here when it comes to the games.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're just playing on a free account and aren't committing anything other than a couple minutes to sign up, Shane mentioned that you have access to a lot of basic games, but even some more complex ones like Stone Age or Dice Forge or Alhambra are all available on free accounts, which is fantastic.
Yeah, these are really classic board games. These are extremely popular, in-depth board games, and you don't need any premium account to access them. You can play those at any given time, and it's just really cool, because I get that some games have to be premium, some are basic, but usually you expect a very small group of very, very basic games, and then all the good ones to be premium. And in this case, that's not how it works. They try to give you as many very good, in-depth variety of games outside of the paywall as possible.
And if you do decide that you want to venture into the paywall, the nice thing is if you have a consistent group of people playing from different locations, only one of you actually needs to be a premium player in order to gain access to the premium games for everybody, which is just amazing.
Yeah, that is the right way to do things, and it actually surprised us the first time we looked at it because we didn't need all 10 of us for all our patrons and all of us to get a premium account to play online. Just one of us, or in this case, two. Because if you do have housemates in the same place and the same IP address, they both need premium accounts. It is a minor annoyance because it's 2020. A lot of houses have multiple individuals living in the same place, but for the price, it's still kind of a steal.
So let's talk about the price. How much is all of this greatness going to run your gaming group? Now, those of you who haven't purchased a membership might be thinking this is going to be something akin to Netflix, where it's going to be $10 to $15 a month. No, you can either get a monthly plan that's $4 a month, or you can get a yearly plan that's $24 a year or $2 a month.
Yeah, and that's what I went with because for $2 a month, that's just an insane value. Among the premium games, Seven Wonders, Carsacone, Sushi Go, Can't Stop, Splendor, which, credit to Asmodee's purchasing them. They got to bring Splendor in. Railroad Inc., Puerto Rico, Terra Mystica. If you have a premium account, you literally have access to like 200 to 300 games on there, and a lot of really, really good ones, a lot of cult classics, and a lot of people passionate about playing those games. On top of that, one thing I like is that the rules are not only on the site, not only do you have PDFs to games that maybe you want to play but you never have before, you have the ability to watch your game before jumping in. This way you can get a sense of the rules and the gameplay and not be that new person holding up a turn for 10 minutes.
But if you're like me and don't like reading rules or doing things before you jump into a game, on the whole, the user interface for most of the games on Board Game Arena, and I do stress most, looking at you, Dice Forge,
Yeah.
are well-designed user interfaces that are very intuitive. Usually you're going to have your scores and turn markers in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. The game is going to be very good about telling you what you need to do in order to progress your turn. There's no green buttons you have to mash in order to proceed. It's just intuitive, and that's really what you need more than anything else from a board game library online.
And if you're like us and you're always going to have a very large board game collection in the back, because nothing beats those in-person games, before spending like 50 or $60 on a game like Stone Age, you can actually play it once or twice online and figure out if it really is a game you and your family would enjoy. And I think that holds a ton of value, especially if you're paying $25 for 1 year. And it's 3 a.m. and you can't sleep, well, just try out some of those games that you've always wanted to try out. And you don't have to drop. I mean, just in the digital games we have, I've spent more on 2 digital games on Steam than a whole year getting access to like 200 plus games on Board Game Arena. So I am very, very bullish on them.
I agree, and for me, I had never played Carcassonne prior to going on to Board Game Arena. We streamed it a time or two, and that was literally my first experience with the game. I knew it was a classic because it comes up in board game lists all the time, so I had been contemplating whether I needed to pick up the big box. And thanks to Board Game Arena, I found out Carcassonne really isn't for me. So that saved me $80-$90 at least, picking up one of the big boxes on one of the used board game exchanges.
Which is like 4 years of subscription.
Boom. Expense justified.
Yeah. Some of our pros, very good community. I think I've spent probably more time on there than any of the other meeples. And some online spaces with gaming have that unfortunate and unfortunately justified reputation for getting pretty toxic. I'm not saying that never happens, but I've never actually experienced that on Board Game Arena. It's just one of those where almost all the conversations are good game, well played, have fun. It's very simple. The people aren't there for BS. They're there to enjoy themselves playing a game. And in the 1 or 2 times a conversation did pop up in chat beyond that, it was always extremely friendly. It was very laid back. It was just cool. It was a very chill vibe, and that could be hard to find in any space online, and I really appreciated that.
Big Sam. And honestly, I have to wonder if it's because Board Game Arena has such a diverse population of players. It's
Yeah.
not all people in the Americas. You have a very strong player base in Europe there too. So I have to wonder if just the variety of perspectives contributes to the chill atmosphere.
Yeah, and especially after the pandemic happened last year, you saw a flood of players from Brazil and South America, especially. Saw a bunch from South Korea, Japan. Saw a bunch from France, Netherlands, Germany, Italy, in Europe especially. And so it is just kind of cool having this laid back community where, look, we're all here to play games. That's it, you know?
For sure. And credit where it's due, particularly as the pandemic was winding up, the servers were taxed pretty hard because suddenly nobody was working and everybody needed something to do. And Board Game Arena actually ended up being a very popular choice.
Yeah.
So much so that they actually had to cap how many people were on the servers at a given time. But credit where it's due, within the course of a couple of months, they were able to scale up to handle pretty much any level of traffic that got thrown at them, which, if you've done any kind of server admin work, is insanely efficient upgrading.
And double credit to where it's due, because they were not prepared for a huge surge of people March of last year. They just weren't. They were trying to upgrade, they were trying to work through things. Then imagine that all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they said there were certain weeks where the number of users quadrupled on them. And so the ability to try to provide the best gaming experience possible and then keep growing to allow more and more people in. And the fact the focus wasn't on selling premium memberships, but getting better servers for everybody. It speaks volumes to how they handled things and how well they scaled up. So it was nicely done.
And they were still adding new games throughout that process.
Yeah.
That was the insane part. Like, in addition to all of this infrastructure work, there was a new game getting released every few weeks, minimum.
Yeah, and although we touch on this a bit, I'm also going to say, huge fan of the premium system. Because, yes, if you're playing solo and you just have a base account, a lot of the premium games are going to be off limits to you. You still have an amazing selection, it's still worth having an account. But if you have a bunch of friends, only one of you needs a premium account. Like, I can have a premium account and then say, hey, Braden, Callahan, Phil, all our lovely patrons. I can give them invites to, say, play Seven Wonders, and none of them have to have a premium account. I can basically bring them in with me. And I think that's a really nice way of doing it. So, I can game with all my friends because only one or two of us had to be serious enough to get the subscription. And now we can't see each other in person, but we're playing Seven Wonders every couple of days. And that was really, really cool.
Absolutely. And again, being able to only have one person have a premium membership, get in on premium games with those just using free memberships, fantastic. Just a great system all the way around. Again, the drawback being, in the case of Shane and I, where we're in the same house playing games, it was kind of dumb. We both had to get premium memberships in order to be able to play, but it could have been worse. And in all honesty, if that's my primary complaint with the premium system, they're doing a great job.
Yeah, it's a good setup. And so there are some cons, as there are with any website or setup. So, Braden, I know you are not a fan of trying to get everybody to the same table.
Yeah, and I have to say, this just seems to be a consistent problem no matter where I go to play board games digitally, whether it's an Asmodee game, whether it is something like Uno, where I have to get in through Ubisoft Connect, or whether it's Board Game Arena. Getting people to the table somehow is always the worst part of the experience, and Board Game Arena really isn't an exception.
Yeah.
I ran into so many glitches, so many dropped people from the table when we'd start a game, so much trouble getting people to see their invites. And while the issues have gone down over the course of the last year, they're still present, and I really don't know why it's such a hardship to come up with an invitation system that doesn't just break immediately.
Yeah, and some of them were just weird. Like you said to invite only for your friends, and then a rando would get the last spot that was for me or for Callahan, and then you had to kick them out and then try to guess in, and then sometimes shut down the whole table and re-invite. And there just has to be a better way to do it. There really does. And for a site that's been so good at solving problems, it's kind of surprising they haven't come up with a better system for that yet.
It is, although part of it may be because their website interface looks like it came from decades past. It's not a particularly modern look.
Yeah, and that's what's right. It's not a pretty site. If you're going over there expecting the bells and whistles and polish, it's not there. Their main focus has been on the servers and making a very playable version of a bunch of games, which is where the focus should be. So don't be surprised when the graphics are less than stellar.
Basic.
Basic.
We're gonna go with basic.
We're gonna go basic.
Because that's really what they are. That hasn't stopped us from having a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need a lot to have a lot of engagement with a game like Six Nymph, where the goal is to get 7 of your closest friends together to see who can screw each other over hardest in a game of cards.
Yeah. And even for the more advanced board games like Stone Age or Libertalia or any of those, you see the boards, you see the pieces, it works out. I will say that depending on which game it is, some of the layouts definitely work better than others. I know we called them out once, but Dice Forge, we are looking at you again.
It was important enough it was worth mentioning twice. Dice Forge's UI is just the hottest of garbage.
And look, I get with a game like that, I don't even know how I go about tackling a decent setup. It's a challenge, but there has to be a better one. There just does.
I agree. I mean, credit where it's due. On the whole, the layouts are great.
Yeah.
But occasionally you come across one and it hurts extra with Dice Forge because it's a game we love playing in person. And to have the digital adaptation just be so frustrating is heartbreaking.
Yeah, and so if you haven't been to Board Game Arena yet, there's no reason at all not to get a basic membership, because you can look around, you can see what games are available, you can see which ones are premium. It is a very simple way to add in some extra gaming when maybe you just can't get the group together. And for the premium account, I mean, for $24, it's $2 a month for access to 200 plus games. There is no affiliate program, or if there is, we didn't even bother to look it up. There are no affiliate links. It's just a cool resource for gamers that we strongly recommend because you can do so much with it. And I know a lot of the early gaming groups you ran into on Twitch, Board Game Arena was their lifeline to keep playing board games throughout the past year. And they did such a good job giving us that ability that we just want to throw some of that love back for those of you who maybe haven't run into them to this point. It's worth the $25 easy.
For sure. And I know that it's going to sound a little corny saying this, but as someone who needed to find a good solution for playing board games digitally when doing so in person just wasn't an option, thanks for putting out such a great overall website. Like, seriously, Board Game Arena. Yeah. For the areas that we're really nitpicking, you did us and other gamers a major solid during the pandemic, and it's awesome that your environment continues to thrive. We hope that you'll be around forever.
Yeah, and it's rock solid. It's been awesome. When it came up for renewal for me just a month or two ago, I didn't even think about it. I just hit the auto charge for another year of premium, and yeah, I'm Corrupt Overlord. You can find me on there. I still play plenty of open games especially during the wee hours of the morning, so feel free to come say hi. If you're in the mood for Stone Age or Dice Forge or anything else, you'll see me around.
But now we want to hear from you. What are your favorite places to play board games online? Have you found any others that we should be looking into other than Board Game Arena?
Yeah,
Leave us a comment down below.
definitely want to hear about it. And if you've had good experiences with Board Game Arena or an awesome or funny story, we are always up for hearing the awesome, funny, or random story. So please leave that below as well. And as always, good gaming.
See you next time!
If you like what you just saw, please support us by hitting that like button and subscribing to our channel for more great gaming content.